I was trying to do some more silver fuming, some rod that I did. I was checking to see what it looked like. I sort of got to go way out here in that flame to get it to do anything. Well, it's not really a bright yellow. How you doing? Good to see somebody showed up. And you can see I made the whole rod the same deal, but you can see where I've been adding the color on this side and not adding the color on that side. Been really, I'd almost say a little bit bummed out. I haven't been doing as much of what I usually do. Even my videos. Hi Al. But at the moment, something tells me I'm going to go ahead and do another piece of tubing. One of the things I have been doing, and I like where it's been going. I've actually been making tubing from scratch, and show you how that goes. It's a game changer. Well, not really a game changer, but it does do something for me, I guess. Now this is 9.5 heavy wall. It doesn't look like it's doing much for the flame, but believe me, without that didymium shield in front of you, that would be really bright. Now, blow hose might help. Give me a second, gotta get to it. Everything's within reach, it's just a matter of reaching it. Hi Eugene. Glad to see you chimed in. I know, that's what I say. Come by and say hi. And that's okay. That's what I like. Now, in this silver fume tubing that I'm going to make, starts out with clear, 9.5 heavy wall. First I'm going to add a little bit of texture to the outside. A little bit of texture to the outside wall. I'm not going to make it heavy duty big either. I might even go ahead and make this into something afterwards, but we'll see. Hey Matthew. I've been doing this all week long and using this single flame torch. This is a National with a number 4 tip on there. Yes, I do have a Carlisle, but at the moment this is what I'm using. You don't have to use the big guns sometimes. You can use a smaller gun. Gets the job done. If and you know what I mean. Now this is texture, and I know this doesn't look like much, but it's going to add some interesting variation to it. Okay. Now to add more texture. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to fume it a little bit with silver. To give it layer. There it is. Okay, I had to make sure where the silver fume rod was. I mean the silver fume dot. On this one you can see it's a little bit darker and shinier than the rest of it. But you put that in the flame and voila. Single flames usually help the best to give it a nice coating, as you can see. Now I'm going to continue with what I'm doing. Hey Cheryl. No, you didn't. This is Memorex. I'm not live, Cheryl. It's just an imaginary dream that you're having. You didn't catch me. It's not live.
I don't like it.
Okay, so we got 9.5 heavy wall, and I just layered some texture glass on the top of it. And I'm going to layer some more textured glass on top of it, like so. Get a little hotter. This is going to be some tubing that I'm going to make, and it's going to look awesome. Once I learn how to really cook it in, it's going to look really, really awesome. Now, this back and forth is just, again, for texture. And yes, it might cause a little bit of air bubbles and stuff once I layer it in, but it's... I'll show you some end game here in just after I finish tubing or layering this on. Two more rows to go. And again, I'm using my National, a single flame torch, and it works out really well for what I'm doing. These sections of tubing that I'm making. Yes, I could use the Carlisle, but I've been just experimenting, and seeing what I could do with what I got, and what other people can do with what they got, not have to worry as much. In other words, if they don't have a lot, then they can still do something. Got a single flame torch, go for it. Did you say 9mm? 9.5 heavy wall Boro tubing. Okay. Now I've got all of that on there. Almost looks like one of those sugar candy sticks that you can buy. I don't think you'd want to lick it right now. It's kind of on the warm side. Oops. Now to add a little bit more silver. And it's going to look really, really interesting. There it goes. Layering over there. Yeah, that rock candy stuff. One lick? No, I don't think so. Now, this is what it's going to look like, or the possibility of it looking like. You see the colors that are in there? This is exactly what I did with this one. Layered it very similar to this. Fumed it just like that. Now, here comes more fun. And then kick it up a notch. And you layer a whole bunch of clear over the top of everything. And this embeds the silver into the glass. One line at a time. And if you're not sure if you want to try this or not, do it with something a lot smaller. I mean, you could do it with tubing a little thinner, glass that's a little thinner. Add the silver as it goes and layer clear over it. This is something that I'm comfortable with doing at this size range. And I've gotten, you saw the results, and I did that with this National torch and flame that I'm using right now. Hey, Andrea. Or it's Andrea's. It's not really your fault. Andrea's fault, right? Ha ha ha. I know You've probably heard that a few times, right? And you can see that I'm heating up the glass. I call this side the paper and this side the pencil, and I add to the paper with the pencil, and you can see that I'm heating up more of the glass rod pencil than I am the paper. And we keep lining line after line all the way around. And again, I'm very comfortable with doing them this size. I've done it this size, but do it smaller if you don't have to. Glad I can be some muse for others. That's what I try to do. I don't give you right or wrong, this is the only way you can do it. I give you, this is a possibility that you too can try. Okay, what I'm doing now is keep warming, and the rod that I was using was getting a little bit too short, but I just sealed another rod to it. And now we're going to continue by adding. Oh, I got all the way around except for one little strip. Interesting, I didn't realize that. Make sure, yep, that one little strip. I thought it had 1 or 2 more rows to go. There we go. Now we're going to pick it up another notch. Yes, it gets loud. That's one thing about a surface mix, a chamber mix torch. Sounds like a jet engine. This is a number 4 tip for a national torch. Now I'm going to start here at the very tip and work my way down. I'm blowing it out gently. You can see the bubble in the end. You're smoothing out as you go, blowing it out gently, but you're not overblowing. And keep adding, little bit by little bit. Got an L marver just outside of view. There we go. Now we can start at the other end again and just sort of bring out a little bit of the fuming. Now let's take it down a notch or two. Now, this is sort of what it's looking like. Now we're going to try to warm it in a little bit more. Warming up. I guess it isn't behind the shield, but I thought it was. I'm gonna have to come up with something. I guess I could lower it a little bit, right? There we go. Wrong direction. Where'd that go from? There we are. How'd that happen? It is getting some nice greens in it. It'll expand and make different colors. As it cools, the colors turn out a little bit better. And as people smoke tobacco through it, it also turns colors a little bit better. One of those things you just didn't know. I didn't realize I was heating that sucker up that much. Well, one more. Well, we're gonna go ahead and do one more of those. Why not, huh? Because I can. That one turned out really, really nice. I like the color variations. And again, it's just a little bit of silver. Now, let's take it down a notch. Any questions? Any answers? Anyone? 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 Now, let's, like I said, do one more. I've got some tubing here, a little bit thicker, that I can add to one of the 9mm heavy wall. I don't know why I hung that up, but we'll see. Let's do one more. This time I'm going to use clear stringer that I made and do the same exact thing with the clear stringer. It's going to go a lot faster because it's a lot thinner. There we go. Now some silver. That's looking good. Do this one a little bit different. Now we're going to put dots spots as well. Okay, now we're gonna add some more silver fuming. There we go. Another layer. I'm also turning this rod as I'm heating it and layering it on, so it's heating evenly and layering on evenly. It is a three-dimensional object, it's not a two-dimensional object. About halfway there layering. Okay, let's just continue. That one's getting a little bit short, so I add another longer one. I'm going to try to do this at a lower flame like this instead of that higher one. As you can see, it's still doing the job. Making some very nice silver tubing here. I've been doing it for about 2 or 3 days. I haven't done much else since, but what I'm doing is starting at one end, and I'm going to heat and even out all of these layers that I just put on it, and blow it out gently. This is where the practice comes in. You do it too much and you'll blow out where it's too hot. So you got to heat it evenly and let it blow out evenly. Hey, Lonnie. But you got to continually sort of like feed one spot and blow it out in another. Keep the even heat going. And to make the tubing. Doing a good job. Doing a good job. If you have any questions, talk to me while I'm working. Just off screen here, I have an L marver on the top of this port. Help me smooth out some of those bumps on there. Okay, I'm going to spin this into a longer center tubing. I haven't figured out what I want to make it into yet, but I will. And I am blowing and puffing a little bit, but mostly I'm sort of letting it stay that thickness and stretching it out a little bit. It's gentle, but it's a doable thing. You just got to take your time and patience. And you can see the colors that's coming out in that. You can see green, blue, some wonderful fused stuff going on. Guess you can't complain too much. Well, you could, but what for? Oops. That's one thing about the single flame. Without oxygen from the outside. To keep the inner flame going. Light that puppy up. There we are. Just by itself, it turned out really, really good for colors. But once you flame it out like this, it strikes a little bit more of the colors into it. Single flame. I think I'll leave it. Hi, Cheyenne. That's a nice name. And this is the one I did just a little while ago. Still lightly warm, but then again, you can see that the wall thickness has a little bit of waviness to it, but the thickness is all over pretty much even. It makes it for a better tube when you make it into something, and it works out real well. Half awake, half asleep. Well, with that, I think I'm going to quit for a while. I want to thank you very much for watching. And if you have questions about my videos or a suggestion, just drop a little comment and I'll see what I can do about answering it. As always, carpe vitro and enjoy your day.